As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.
So, okay, your like first long-term relationship, sort of right after high school, you told him the body count was on the low end. You lied.
He was
how
like,
did he
that
find out?
Everything.
Like, did you tell him, or did he like?
I just
find
started
out?
feeling guilty because I started like really falling for him. So I was like, this lie, like, damn. I'm holding it in. So I told him, and he like flipped out on me.
Wait, so you told him? What was the number that you told him?
4, like 2 to 4, yeah.
2 to 4. What was it actually?
I still lied to him the second time, actually, but I had to raise the number a bit just to like let him know, because yeah. I told him. Tell us
the new lie, and then tell us what the actual number was.
I told him it was 22, thinking that it would be like chill,
22? That's already on the high side.
And then he flipped out like really bad. But the actual number, all right, I'm going to say this. The actual number at the time was like 150.
Oh my God.
Good Lord. 150 bodies?
Excuse me?
Sorry, Mom.
Wait, how old were you? Wait, how old were you at the time?
I was 19.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
150 bodies by the age of 19? Where were your parents at?
I had a friend who had an older sister, and she told me, have sex with as many people in high school as you can because no one has STDs.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What? So I took that as law, and I really went for it.
Excuse me?
Wait. Can you repeat that part? What she told you?
Oh my God. Sorry. I'm so nervous too. I'm literally like wiping my hands like aggressively.
No, you're doing fine.
No, it was like around 150. But she told me, like my friend's older sister, she was like, have sex with as many people as you can in high school because nobody has any STDs yet. And I just took that as law because I was hypersexual, very young. So
I bet she told you that as a joke, but your dumbass went and ran with it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. That's dope.
I guess.
I love that for you.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
It's my life.
Yeah. And you're 27 now?
I am 27.
Okay.
So do the math.
He's probably closing in on 1,000 bodies now.
Nasty bitch.
Yuck.
Gotcha. And wait, when did you join the Navy?
I joined the Navy. I joined the Navy actually while I was with that first boyfriend, and then he actually cheated on me the first day that I went into the Navy. But
yes.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Wait, so you were in boot camp for 6 weeks. How many how did it go down at boot camp or?
No, but so there's this thing in boot camp. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish I hate that it's like on me for this long.
You're good.
In boot camp, in Navy boot camp, you cannot talk to the opposite sex. You can't even look at them. You can't look their way, nothing. Like you will get in trouble. And, but there were church services. And you could go, there was 3 every Sunday, and you could go to all of them. And you could sit next to the males, you could sit next to the boys, and you could, kind of get away with talking to them. So I would make sure to go to every church service, and I would talk to as many boys as possible, and I would tell them like the wildest shit. And I would just like walk away.
But did you?
I never hooked up with anyone.
Was there any carnal knowledge Did you have carnal knowledge with any of them?
No, but whenever I went to the airport with one of them, he was like, "Oh, let's go in one of the family bathrooms, and I'm gonna clap those cheeks." So I was like, "I'm good, thank you. We're out of boot camp now. We don't have a trauma bond anymore."
All right, good times.
I've been a Christian my entire life.
These
and
fishermen, every fish.
Oh my!
I've been in the industry for 8 years. I quit several times trying to trust God that He would pay my bills and my family. Like, I support my family. I don't want to get into specifics for my mom's respect and everything, but like, you know, we grew up in extreme poverty, like foreclosed trailer, like very poor. And I stuck behind and helped. And like, I've been able to provide not just for her, but for other people. And on top of that, there's been girls in the industry I've met who, if I wasn't around and talked to them about my faith and my experiences and helped them, they were spiraling down a very bad, like, you know, mental health space. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. So if you believe in God and you believe that all things can happen for good, then why can't you believe that at the end of the day, you might be placed in this position temporarily because you are helping those people and you are helping to better not just yourself.
These lumberjacks, every tree they chop down.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So when you read the Samaritan at the well, when Christ talks with her, does he say, "Oh, you've been sleeping with all these men, you've been an adulterer, just continue to do that, it may work out really well and something providential will occur"? Or does he say, "Sin no more"? Like, is it wrong that you continue to engage in it as a Christian? From your perspective, I mean, obviously from mine, it is wrong. And so Christ's message isn't like, don't ever judge, never criticize any sort of action. Everybody's wonderful. And look, something really grand. And if you don't make enough money, well, just go ahead and do it because I can't bless you enough to make sure I can give you enough financial stability for whatever. That's not the message of the gospel.
That is definitely not the message. But I do hear that a lot from these girls.
The message of the gospel is to not commit sin.
So when Jesus was asked, what is the most important law or rule in the Bible, what were the two he named?
Love your neighbor as yourself and love God with all your heart.
Okay.
And so are you loving your neighbor as yourself when you contribute to an industry that we just talked about, that's shifting cultural values, degrading tradition, shifting sexual dynamics between men and women? Is that loving your neighbor as yourself?
You could say the same for employees of companies that cause a lot of damage and toxic waste and
Agreed.
health problems to people.
And that would be sinful.
That's like saying, like, oh, if you work for McDonald's, you don't love your neighbor as thyself because it's killing people with diabetes. And
that is not. So you're saying
it's all
a Big Mac is the same thing as corn. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
there's no spectrum
the
here.
7 deadly sins. I don't know. I'm not religious. I'm doing this for selfish reasons. I don't know. I want money for myself. Like,
because you're trying to blame one aspect of it.
Software engineers.
My point is just that there has to be an objective morality.
I
That's
agree.
all I'm saying.
However, I think that in my certain circumstance, and I can't speak for other women, they may want the fame, they may want the attention and whatever. I know for myself, I decided I'm going to sacrifice and do whatever I need to on a selfless level for the people that I love and care about. And if that at the end of the day tells God that I'm not worthy of going to heaven, then like, so be it. But I'm going to continue to do what feels right because, you know, for everything you do, guard your heart above all. It's for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs, 4:23.
These damn
I have a
Astro
religious
truckers.
saying, God's plan, right? Like everyone says, God's plan. If God has a plan for everyone, then like, wouldn't it like her plan be what it is now, and wouldn't her plan be what it is?
So we don't have free will.
We got free will.
We don't have free will.
Got free will.
We don't get to make decisions. I mean,
I'm
what's
genuinely
the point?
asking. I'm like
No,
not religious,
okay.
so
Alright.
like I'm like actually asking. I'm not trying to be like.
Well, the whole worldview is that from a Christian paradigm is that we are made in the image of God, Genesis 1:26. And with that, God was not forced to create the world. He did so because he freely chose so, and it's out of love. And love demands two people being able to choose. So love cannot exist in a deterministic world or in a relationship where somebody dominates you or forces you. That's not love, right? So love has to include free will. And so the entire understanding of creation, our relationship with God, is that we are trying to align our free will, made in the image, being able to actually be a causal force in the world through the things that we choose, to align that with God's will. And the more we do that, the more we as individuals become conduits for God to act in the world. And that the whole point of repentance is that we can make wrong choices. Obviously, none of us are perfect. Christ is the only perfect one. So it's same for me, same for everybody at this table. We've all made choices. We've all made the wrong choice. The point that I'm saying is that there has to be an objective standard for us to know if we made the right or the wrong choice. And I'm not condemning anybody or blaming anybody for all things. The point is, if you do believe that there's an objective morality, well, clearly from a Christian paradigm, corn is one that's going to transgress that morality.
Understand?
Do you believe that certain things are predetermined or not? Like, so,
What is predetermined? What do you like? Give me an example of what you would
fate
say.
kind of thing. Like you were.
I mean, God has your life planned out.
Not
and
like
written
certain
before you
things. Like
even-
at least certain things could be
Yeah, but
predetermined.
that's what I'm confused about.
Like I'm not
I
saying
was gonna
little
say something.
details, but like I don't know, certain basic things, like how many kids you will have.
No, I mean, that's still, again, this was a conversation that came up yesterday in the debate, is God's perspective is outside space and time, right? So from God's perspective, you've already lived and you've already died, because he's already knows the decisions that you made, but his knowledge, again, this is a logical fallacy that foreknowledge entails causality. And this is what I was trying to convey to Zena yesterday. It violates the laws of logic. So just because God knows the choices we make and knows the end point of our lives, that we are living within temporal space and time right now, we are experiencing the journey. But God is outside space and time.
Yeah.
So he can already see the choices we made, and he doesn't determine the choices we made, the fact that he knows what we've made. And in that journey, he can absolutely have providence and providential occurrences in which things line up. And it does feel like fate or destiny, but your future is not written in stone. Well, you get to choose that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, you said that it's based on belief, so belief is different from logic, right? So.
Right, but again, belief can still be built on rational, logical principles. Just because I can, you believe that you're going to exist tomorrow, it doesn't mean you can't make a logical and rational argument why you'll still exist tomorrow.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
So you believe in hell and heaven, right?
of course.
Okay, so if someone's not religious and they live their life entirely without God or anything, where do they end up when they die?
So as Orthodox, we do not make claims about people's salvation. What we would say is that God judges. There's an objective morality, right? This is the teachings of Christ. We'd say that's just written in stone fact. That's what everybody's judged on, because Christ had a perfect human heart. All of our hearts, which is really who we are, that's what's going to be held up to the light of Christ. So let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna answer your question, I promise. So we would say everybody gets judged within their context. So for example, say there's an old lady who's a Protestant who has lived a very, again, from all standards, a very pious and righteous life. But she's not Eastern Orthodox, what I believe to be the one true church founded by the apostles that still is unchanged. Do I think she's going to go to hell? No, God's going to judge her in her context, and I don't know the fate of her soul. That's outside my pay grade. What we say is we are the fullness. If you want the fullness of Christianity and the historical faith, that's us. Everything out there. So again, like the Taoist monk on Wudong Mountain in China who's doing Tai Chi every morning, is he going to hell? Well, how can I make claims about salvation when he hasn't heard about Christ? And that's where, when you ask, you shall receive. When you want to know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, the difficult thing that people don't realize is God will give you the answers. If you really have a question you're struggling with and you pray about it sincerely, you'll get the answer. The question is, what are you going to do with that? Because now you are held guilty if you reject it. So
That's why I have it here.
Yeah, the fine-tuning argument essentially, when you look at the cosmological situation that allows life to persist on the planet, it is so fine-tuned that if you changed any one thing, life couldn't exist. But we're told that the Big Bang, again, it was 13.8 billion. I think a year or two ago, they then upped it because there was statistical mathematical problems with the idea of just Darwinian macroevolution, which is total random selection. Actually, if you just did the statistics, that would not be enough time for all random possibilities to actually present us to the present moment. And so we saw that based on their cosmology, that the universe has now been upgraded. I think it was like 28 billion years is what they're arguing now. But the point is, the fine-tuning of life to exist on this planet is so precise that how could that possibly be totally random based on what we're told by secular cosmology?
The whole universe is a fine-tuned creation, clear evidence of a higher power.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
I have
I
a
had that in the
question.
back. It was,
It was really got there.
I have a question. So going back to what you said, like where, you know, so you're Orthodox, and like, if, like she said, if you're not religious, like, where would you go, right? Heaven or hell? And so, you know, this is like my best friend right here, Lindsay. And then, you know, we both do the same work. And she's one of like the best people that I know. And like, I'm a good person. So where do you think we're going?
Well, based on what standard is a good person? So
Like,
again, my standard is Jesus Christ.
Right.
So that's the standard.
Just in the day to day, like we are.
Okay.
Good people,
Well,
but like
you can
what
be.
we do for a job.
You can be a really nice person. I won't even debate you on that. Maybe you are one of the nicest people, and maybe you're a really good friend. But again, day to day, how are you lining up with trying to strive to be like Jesus Christ? And that then calls into question like objective morality, objective ethics, these types of things. And I would never make a claim about you particular, but we can certainly make claims about behaviors, right? So Christianity, this is where I get like this feminized Christianity where you can't criticize behavior is ridiculous. Like that is not what Christ did in the gospel. They cherry pick a quote here that says, oh, well, you know, he said, just love everybody. Well, that's not what the gospel says. The gospel is very clear on what things we should and shouldn't do. And so when somebody transgresses those behaviors, you can call them out. Doesn't mean you then claim what their salvation is or the state of their soul or the interiority of who they are as a person. We can't know those things. Only God does. But with what you've been given and the knowledge that you have, you will be judged. And St. Paul says the law has already been written on your heart. So deep down, this is where, you know, even if somebody never heard of Jesus, and maybe they live in a tribe down in the Amazon, but they participate in cannibalism and human sacrifice, like those things are just naturally violent. You have to be desensitized to those things for them to become normal. And so that's because God's already written morality on our heart. We know it. And that's why we try to preserve innocence in children and women, because they're closer to that structure and they can feel when it's transgressed. But when you violate the purity and you get rid of the purity, you're so desensitized to things that you can't feel like when actually transgressions occur.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now is we have so many women who've been affected negatively physically from men and children as well. You expect them to be able to grow up and still abide by the same morals that did not protect them. So like where are those examples set?
I'm not in favor of defending any man that violates a woman or a child in a sexual manner. I think we should have, especially children. I'm not against capital punishment. I mean, those people need to be like, that is a sickness. That is, and Christ says, like, those people deserve a millstone.
Do you
like
think
you did not.
Is a sickness?
I think that it's a sickness in regards to society. I'm not going to make a claim about you.
I see it as a form of mental illness, creating the content they create and not feeling the shame that they should feel about it. There's something definitely off about it.
You two as individual people, I don't know your lives. I don't know your content. Again, I don't know the interiority of your life. God does, though. And you guys know that God does. And so if you feel convicted about things, that's the Holy Spirit. And I do believe that the more you sin, the more the Holy Spirit leads you. I mean, as an Orthodox Christian, we believe in these uncreated energies. So things like love, truth, logic, mercy, compassion, honor. We believe these are actual energies from God. And that's how we engage with him directly. Like directly, there's no mediator. It's if I am loving and compassionate and I'm led by logic and reason and I'm pursuing truth, like I am moving towards Christ. And so when the more we participate in sin, the more we dissipate those energies in us. And that's why sin is death, because without God's energies, how could you live? God sustains all life. He is the source of life. That's actually another uncreated energy. So if God's energy are totally abased and absent within you, you are filled with death. And that's what sin is.
It's interesting.
So, what I would do if I was dictator. So in addition to if you go to jail for lying about your body count, I also think we're going to ban plastic surgery unless, look, there's some exceptions. Some people do have like cleft lip or whatever. And there's also, there are some, look, if somebody's disfigured either genetically or my wording is terrible. If somebody, there was an accident, a terrible train accident, and, I think we can, that plastic surgery that is kind of corrective, but fake titties, gotta go. BBL, gotta go.
I don't have a fucking
see,
BBL.
but you're doing this like thing. You have hip augmentation.
I don't.
You have hip augmentation.
Too skinny. That's just her body.
She's got.
You're just mad her body's
she's-
tea like that.
No,
Thank you.
she's got hip
swear to
augmentation,
God, I
bro.
don't.
No, she does not.
I'm too. I
See,
would
she
like
tried-
to have a
she tried to
BBL, but I
do-
can't because I'm too
She just
skinny.
has a nice body.
I don't have fat to like
I
move
heard-
into my hips.
I heard of it, yeah.
I would love to have a BBL, but I literally can't.
Y'all smoking crack. Something is wrong with you people.
I've never seen a BBL that looked like that. If that is a BBL.
What is your hatred for like plastic surgery?
One second.
I'm
Also, you're being
I'm very
selective.
flattered that you think that every show.
Every show.
Yeah, he thinks I have a BBL every single time.
A BBL. I mean, I would say your boobs are done before you had a
Yeah,
BBL.
my boobs are done. I've said that multiple times, but
Oh, okay.
I don't have a BBL.
Okay. All right. But see, I've asked this question before, and girls will like do this word game where it's like, well, I don't exactly have that. Like I'll say, oh, you have breast implants, and they'll say, no, I don't have fake boobs, but they got fat transfer. And they'll do this like technicality. Technically, it's not.
I don't
But
have.
so you have something where it's either hip. You got the hip augmentation shit.
I know.
All right, whatever, bro.
But what's your problem with people improving their bodies? Like,
What's my problem?
yeah, like,
Yeah, what's the
What's your
hatred?
problem with not having a problem with it?
like if someone
Boom.
wants to look
Debated.
better, someone wants to look better. And
What's that?
If someone wants to look better, and
No.
I mean, what's
No.
the problem with that?
Well, the problems are it's expensive, it's dangerous, and it's not necessary. Avoid surgeries.
No. Here, look. There's a couple problems. There's a couple problems. One, you've got these. You've got the entire cosmetics industry. You've got the entire beauty industry. You've got the plastic surgery industry. You've got the cosmetic surgery industry. They are predators. They are preying on women's insecurity. We all know that beauty is this very, very important thing. Everybody wants to be beautiful, and especially in society in 2025, everybody wants to be beautiful and good looking and all this stuff. People are very superficial. They're very materialistic. Everybody wants the perfect body, the perfect face, all that shit. And I'm telling you, they're preying on women and men's insecurity. They're preying on it. They're profiting off of it. You guys are going to defend it because you are in a prison for your mind.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Oh my
Yeah,
You are
any
so
girl who
patriarchal
goes and gets
society.
it done, like do that, and then they go get it done, and the guys are like way more into them every single time.
Oh,
Every
your deception
single
is
time.
effective. Don't get me wrong.
Every
The deception
single time.
is
every time a
very
girl
effective.
gets enhancements,
But
it's that way.
But if
I
it
would
was,
rather live in a society where people, I think, look, you shouldn't just be you should take good care of yourself and take good care of your health, and you can work on your appearance within the metrics and paradigms that don't involve cutting your body open and painting your face with a pound of makeup and
This.
Get,
What about your sir? You had a beard and no
the
beard.
beard.
No,
Oh, the beard.
I think the beard gives you at least 2 points, at least. And I don't think you're an unattractive man without the beard. But I'm saying a
She's trying
beard.
to smash right now. What's that?
Nice.
That was easy.
Well, the thing is, the beard is at least natural. The BBLs, the makeup, they're far from it.
Yeah, he's into the BBWs. But I feel like this makeup thing is very crazy. Like, because I'm not afraid to not have makeup on, right? But also I do it for my own self. Like, I love it. Every day I get going from the mirror, and the hour I spend on it is the best time of my
Wait,
day.
do you have a tongue piercing? Can you?
Let's not.
What the
Okay,
fuck?
I'm 23 years old, and I'm going to take it out when I'm married. Yes, I have a tongue piercing.
Okay,
that a
I'm
problem?
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Tongue piercing, big red flags. It screams high body count.
That's what I call a chain reaction. manifest my own destiny. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the perfect recipe. May they remember me, my words will live on. I'm guided by an energy, a flame, hold it close to you. Check out my melodies in the media that's been leading you. I'll show you a thing. Misdirection was the message, they don't want you to win.
As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.